What's up, folks? I have been covering over the past couple days pretty closely the Erica Stefanko case in Ohio, Akron, Ohio, and a verdict was reached yesterday. I just wanted to do an update on it. I haven't done much true crime recently. I have been doing true crime, but not any specific criminal cases. Pretty much everything I've been covering has been directly linked to the election. But I just want to switch things up a bit. Sometimes it's nice to cover a murder trial, right? So what happened was this dishonorably discharged Marine back in 2016 murdered his ex. I don't know if they were married, but I think they were just boyfriend and girlfriend. Regardless, they had a child together, a daughter, who is actually the reason for this trial happening in the first place. And I'll get to that in a second. But what happened was he strangled, her name was Ashley Biggs, a veteran of the Army, 25 years old at the time of death, who was working as a pizza delivery driver. I think it was Domino's, and Erica Stefanko placed a phone call for pizza, which lured Miss Biggs to an abandoned building where she was strangled with a ligature being the zip tie that was used by Chad Cobb. Now, he confessed to the murder. He avoided the death penalty and is serving life without parole. He has since recanted his confession during the course of this trial and went on to say that Erica was the one that did the murder. Now, the big evidence against her was a phone call in which she admitted that she placed the order for the pizza that Miss Biggs was attempting to deliver. And as well, the daughter. Now, the daughter was the stepdaughter of Erica and the real daughter of Miss Biggs and Mr. Cobb. I don't even want to call him Mr. Chad Cobb, who's just ugly goon, ex-Marine, not very intelligent. Erica, I think, a lot more conniving, more intelligent, although not intelligent, intelligent relative to Chad, let's put it that way. And she had a history of abuse, Erica Stefanko did, with this daughter, the stepdaughter, her stepdaughter, Chad and Ashley's real daughter. And although she was a minor at the time, the child, who is only going by her initials, G and C standing for Cobb, of course, came forward and testified. And in the state of Ohio, children are deemed competent to testify even if the crime happened before the age of 10, as long as they are at least 10 years old. And this testification by GC, who is, I think, 15 now. I might have said she was 5 earlier. No, that would make her 11, right, at the time. But the period of abuse went back before 2016. She testified to Erica abusing her, and to also the fact that she placed the phone call for the pizza. So, those two things combined with the fact that, pretty gross stuff, guys, so just be warned, I guess. She made the daughter eat some sort of feces and yogurt, among other abuses, which I didn't look into, but that was the one that was brought up in the trial. I believe it was the mother of Chad Cobb that said that, in addition to the daughter. But regardless, in addition to that was the testification of a friend or ex-friend of Erica, who said that Erica Stefanko defecated on the grave of Ashley Biggs. Pretty despicable act, of course, but this is what happened. And this trial, if you want to see, was covered by Court TV News, I believe they're called, which is kind of a entertainment-esque crime covering channel. Basically, the only cases they seem to cover are the really kind of salacious ones that have like a salacious edge to them. But great coverage. They did very good coverage. So if you want to check that out, I think one reason this trial really reeled me in was the fact that I had never seen real evidence before. They showed pictures of, now not explicit, that you didn't see the body or anything like that, but you did see certain body parts, the hand, for example, as well as other evidence on screen. Of course, everyone in the trial room itself saw all the photos of the crime scene. So anyone who was in the room at the time, of course, saw the pictures of Ashley Biggs. However, she was never shown in full. It was just her hand, and there was also the car, the inside of the car that she was left in. They drove, and that was the other thing too, is both Erica and Chad Kopp drove. I believe Erica followed Chad. Again, not very smart people. They left her body in a car not very deeply either, in a cornfield that was nearby. So, seems, there's a degree of premeditation to it, but it seems like also a degree of no premeditation, insofar as they didn't seem to think far beyond the murder itself, given that it was quite easy for cops to find. And I believe they actually were going to come back and clean up the scene at a later time. I'm not sure if it was that same day or the next day, but by the time they had returned, police were all ready at the scene of the crime. But the verdict was, and maybe I should have given this before, excuse me for that, I'll put it in the description box, because I know some people freak out when you don't get to the point. She was, fortunately, convicted of aggravated murder and murder in the, I don't know if it was I think it was the second degree, but 2 murder charges, so I think there's a small chance she could see daylight again, but in all likelihood will get life, at the very least life with parole, but I would say more likely life without parole. I was a little concerned about this particular trial because it seemed that, it seemed to be pretty airtight case. Maybe not airtight, but pretty solid case as far as convicting her. Despite that, the jury did deliberate a little longer. Now, I want to end this with a caveat, and that's this. Our judicial system is very much theater. I think it's very much theatrical process. I think this, the fact that this case was one of the first ones released to the public and televised as well, of course, the justice system being hugely clogged up and backed up due to the pandemic. This is one of the first ones that was televised and broadcast to the internet. So I do think there's an element of distraction and needless attention here. I don't really see how it ties into the cabal at large, the bigger players, right? But it is what I found to be an interesting true crime case. One that I thought she may get off, actually. It reminded me somewhat of the Casey Anthony case, which, if anybody remembers that, I think it was in early 2011 or 2012. It was about a decade ago or so, where Casey Anthony killed her baby and got off scot-free. She didn't go to jail. She got it was trial by jury, and the jury found her innocent. Of course, everybody knows she did it, but it made me think of that trial, because it seemed that there was a chance that she could get off, get off because of that extra deliberation within the jury. But again, this is my questioning mind. It's like, did they do that on purpose to try to reel people in even more, because they knew they had the case locked anyway, so they were trying to play people into thinking that they were actually debating about it? This is how my mind works, guys. It's maddening, but it seemed that was a possibility. I won't be surprised if it was, but who knows? That's how absurd our justice system is, that she almost walked free. And I think, I do want to talk about her clothes too here, which is going to be kind of interesting. But she's a woman. She's white. She's female. She's not beautiful, but she's not ugly either. I wouldn't say she's pretty. She's obviously a vile creature, vile woman, vile human being, evil human being, for sure. But she's still a white woman, and in society, she is seen as a white woman. So I thought because of that, and because the jury was taking a little bit more time to reach their verdict, which again to me seemed very very obvious that she was key in the murder of Ashley Biggs. It did seem like there was a chance that she could get off. Fortunately, she got convicted. I do think justice was served in this one. But I haven't seen too many people covering this case. I think there are bigger fish to fry, but just a little fun true crime case that I wanted to cover and give people my take on. Out of Akron, Ohio, the Erica Stefanko case. Again, verdict was reached yesterday. Guilty of murder and aggravated murder as well. So let me know your thoughts. If anybody has been following it at all, I'd like to know. It's been going on for the past couple weeks. I was going to say about her clothing, I thought that her lawyer would kind of dress her up a little more feminine, just to play up the woman card, the woman card a bit. I'm not going to swear. I was going to say the P card, but the woman card. But they didn't really do that. Everyone had to wear masks, of course, and she just wore a plain blue mask, and she dressed in men's like dress shirts, men's work shirts. She did not dress very feminine at all. So I found that to be a little perplexing, because you think that the lawyer would kind of play that up a bit, but that tactic didn't work in the Ezra Canlis case, which was the case of actually in Wisconsin of a woman who killed her boyfriend, and she tried to kind of play up the schoolgirl, pretty girl, whatever you want to call it, that sort of woman card, which failed because she did kill her boyfriend, but that's another case. So regardless, wearing man shirts did not help Erica Stefanko to avoid justice, which is fine by me. So sometimes our justice system does get it right, if only by accident.